driving on stormy nights can become so difficult that you may wish you had the eyes of a night creature, like an owl or a tarsier. What's a tarsier? Well, it's like a... Look, it doesn't matter. Bosch Night Performance Wiper Blades reduce blur and glare, clearing away rain, so you can drive even better than a tarsier, whatever that is. Night vision has evolved. Bosch Night Performance Wiper Blades.
O'Reilly! Check engine light on? Take the guesswork out of your check engine light with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free and provides a report with solutions based on over 650 million vehicle scans verified by ASE certified master technicians. And if you need help, we can recommend a shop for you. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
This is Tim Beck, head coach at Coastal Carolina Chants. Shout out to the FunBelt podcast.
If you didn't know before, now you know why they call this the FunBelt.
Very excited about the Sun Belt.
You know, while other conferences have been breaking up, our conference has become stronger.
The state of Sunbelt football is the strongest in our history.
I saw FunBelt Conference, and I'm like, I don't know what this is, but I got to join the show. This sounds a lot of fun.
FunBelt Podcast, we're back again. Guys, the world just goes to hell when we are not around. I mean, it's no longer cool to have a Bud Light. So, Jeremy, we can't hang out and drink anymore. Shane,
no.
I'm glad that we're on the same page that we drink Pabst Blue Ribbon because, you know, we can still hang out and do that. But we're back with another episode of FunBelt Podcast. Dusty Thibodeau from Warhawk Report, Shane Metlin from the Daily News Record, Jeremy Harper from Howraiser. Guys, it's that time of year where it's all about the diamonds. It's softball, it's baseball, and spring football, getting us closer to the announced July dates of Sunbelt Conference Media Days. My flight's booked, the hotel's booked. Shane won't be there. Me and Jeremy will have to hang out at the Crystal again on Bourbon Street.
You know, maybe get a little drunk, which is something I did, at least on the first night. I got a little tipsy. But you know what? It's easy for me. Guys, I don't know how it is for you. You're talking about Bud Light. It doesn't take much anymore for me. It used to be like it took a tankard of Bud Light before I'd get a little tipsy. Now it's if I have two, I'm a little nervous. I'm like, am I going to say something stupid? Am I going to stagger? Am I going to like make out with somebody? I don't know. Is it with you guys? Have you guys reached that point?
I'm not going drinking with him anymore, Shane.
I don't blame you with that, with the threat of being made out with.
It was a beautiful moment. But I don't know why you have to besmirch it.
No, but, to me, it depends on what I'm drinking.
Okay.
I mean, like, had family in for Easter, which means my wine glass is getting topped off during dinner. And like wine will put me to sleep.
Yeah. I used to have a ratio. It's like for me, it was one bottle of wine, like to myself, just one bottle was fine. Bottle two is the knockout bottle. If I drank the second bottle, I might end up in the neighbor's yard.
Second glass of wine, I'm ready to go to bed. Like, you know, it's like equal to maybe 4 beers or, you know, a couple cocktails. I don't know. I don't know why it hits me different, but
it's because
that's where I am in my 40s.
We're getting old. We can't handle it anymore. It's like you know, like it's supposedly the older you, like when you get older, like our age, you actually physically get kind of stronger. But when it comes to my tolerance for alcohol, or my tolerance even for spicy food, I can't handle it the way a young man can handle it. It's making me a little depressed. It's making me a little down. It's making me wish that I had something other than Red Wolves baseball to keep me occupied, but I don't. Shane knows because he's a professional sports writer. But I'm going to turn this to Thibs. Thibs, what is going on with Sunbelt baseball right now? Cheer me up, because it looks like right now it's a battle of attrition. It looks like we're all just beating each other up. Am I right about this, or am I missing something?
Yeah, a big win today, non-conference, as Coastal Carolina went and took care
Absolutely.
of the Campbell Fighting Camels for a
They're
big
ranked
nationally
14th.
top 25 win. So huge win for the league, but
Yep.
it's very much a haves v have-nots.
Oh, okay.
We're still a little top heavy with the Cajuns and the Chants leading the way at 9-3, Old Dominion 8-4. Southern Miss, maybe a little bit of a letdown, 7-5 on the year. App State
Yeah.
6-5. James Madison, Troy, Texas State, Georgia Southern, all at the 500 mark. Arkansas State 2-8 on the season. Warhawks not doing much better, 3-8. Both of them are on the outside looking in to go to Montgomery for the Sun Belt Conference tournament.
Now, I could be wrong about this, Tibbs, but I believe that is it Marshall? Aren't they playing East Carolina tonight? Somebody's playing East Carolina tonight. I don't know if anybody's got that up, but East Carolina's a top 10 team. So that's pretty cool. That's good that Coastal took care of business against the Camels. You wouldn't think that the Camels are this powerhouse, but they are. What is going on with Georgia Southern? I thought Georgia Southern was going to run away with it this year. What's going on?
Hell if I know. The creek has dried up or something down in Statesboro, because it is not the power, the magic of Eagle Creek has not really lifted them. By the way, it is Old Dominion that played East Carolina, losing 7-3. Marshall had the Bobcat of Ohio 8-6.
Okay.
They were winners.
Okay, I knew one of our better teams was playing East Carolina. I'm a little depressed that we couldn't pull that one out, but that's okay. That's okay. That's a tough team, East Carolina. The Pirates. So if Southern Miss isn't pulling its weight, is it like we got like a surprise basketball school and not such a good baseball school from Southern Miss? Is that what's happened here? Did we think we were getting this baseball powerhouse and instead got a competent basketball program instead?
If you'd have told me to pick one Southern Miss program to be guaranteed to go to the postseason back in August, I would have said baseball. And now it's looking like, maybe football and basketball are going to make the postseason, and baseball might not. But I think there's still some time for the Golden Eagles to get some wins. But I don't know. From what I'm hearing so far, maybe 3 bid Sunbelt in baseball, which I think is decent, but maybe a little bit of a letdown considering last year, if you count the teams that are still in Conference USA, it was basically a 5 bid league.
Oh yeah, and I was all like, oh, it's going to be 5 bid this year. Doesn't look like it's going to happen. But all right, so would you agree though that Coastal Carolina kind of surprising this year? We kind of thought that maybe Coastal Carolina had run out of gas, had run out of talent, that they were sort of
Well, they were reloading. I wouldn't say they were out. They were reloading.
Okay, and it turns out they reloaded pretty well. Not bad.
I mean, you got to remember though, even though it's been several years since they were there, everyone remembers that they got to lift a trophy, right? From the Big South Conference, not the Sun Belt, of course, as we learned from Carl Benson a long time ago.
Yeah.
That we were a rain delay away from being able to have a Sun Belt Conference title. But it's to me a little surprising that Coastal Carolina is doing as well as they are. Now, have they locked up their slot in Montgomery? No, not yet. They still need a couple more wins, but they're well on their way.
Yep. And dare I say, are they the only top 25 team for the Sun Belt right now? Maybe Louisiana? Have they cracked it yet? Are they kind of?
I think it depends on which poll you're looking at. It's going to be. I think Coastal is the only consistently ranked across the board, with the Cajuns at least others receiving votes, and they're at the bottom of the top 25.
So it's a little like football right now. Louisiana and the Cajuns. Oh my God, are they going?
They're one and the same. So. Yeah.
Are they? Oh, I'm sorry. Louisiana and the Chanticleers, the Cajuns and Coastal Carolina. I'm sorry. You know what? Somebody decided to record this podcast kind of late, and none of us are firing on all 10 cylinders. We're kind of limping along here. But
Would
you
it
know,
be better if we were drunk or in the sleep deprivated state that we're in now?
I don't know, or maybe it doesn't have to just be. We could be, cough medicine. We could be high on that, or high on winning, like I am right now. You're talking about Coastal Carolina lifting that national championship trophy. Would have been a great honor for the Sun Belt, but who also has an opportunity to raise a national championship trophy at the
Whoever
end
went to
of the season.
FanFest for the NCAA Final Four, and
Yep.
they had the
Yep.
replica right there. Yeah.
Arkansas State bowling, baby, in the Final Four in Las Vegas, competing against Nebraska, Vanderbilt, and defending champion McKendree. What do you think of that? All 4 number 1 seeds going in, rolling head to head in Vegas, baby. I know you guys are watching.
Can you bet on that, by the way?
I don't know. I need to check my betting apps. Surely you can put down some money. But of those 4 teams, gentlemen, the only team of those 4 that has never won a national championship is Arkansas State. So Arkansas State primed, ready for that national championship. What?
Are they going to have like a bobblehead giveaway next year at the lane of a replica trophy? Will it be like, when the Ashes won the World Series, fans could come to a certain game and they got a promo ring? Are you going to send us T-shirts, Jeremy?
You know what? I'm not sure how we're going to react. If theoretically, if we.
But why are we celebrating the Southland? That's FCS mentality at its finest.
Podcast, right? Is this not the Southland podcast?
It's becoming that way.
I don't know Jonesboro that well. What's the parade route for the national championship celebration?
They line up at the Dairy Queen and go to the Walmart.
Somebody from Monroe is trying to bust on my town of Jonesboro. Go on, tell me how great Monroe is. Let me hear about Monroe. I've been to great parties in Monroe, so I'm sure it's good. But
I think I have.
Let me ask you this though, Shane: has JMU ever won a national championship?
Yes.
In what?
They won 2 FCS football championships.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
They won field hockey in the 90s.
Yeah. Now was that
94
Division 1? What was it?
Division 1.
Ooh, okay. All right.
They won women's lacrosse in 2018 and might do it again this year. They're ranked number 4 in the country in women's lacrosse.
Let's take that national championship in women's lacrosse. What did that do for the school? Was it like, oh, hey, that's great, that's nice, business as usual? Or did it pump like some weird, strange, all of a sudden everybody was a lacrosse fan pride?
It didn't boost. I mean, not winning a national championship, but making the national semis in softball probably got a bigger response from local fans. Lacrosse is it's starting to make its way into the local high schools. It's still like not a lot of local kids play it. There's more and more, but it was a big deal. It was celebrated. It was cool because the championship games on ESPN and everything, but it wasn't as big a deal definitely not as big a deal as the FCS football championships. Not as big a deal as the softball World Series. Maybe about the same as the women's basketball team just making the NCAA tournament this year. Honestly, maybe like similar level of celebration.
Now there was a banner raising though, obviously with the lacrosse, right?
Yeah, they've got like some signage up at the stadium and stuff. Yeah.
I think maybe a national championship, even if it's for bowling, which isn't exactly a prestige sport, would really be a source of pride at Arkansas State. Have the Warhawks ever won a national championship in something? Skiing, maybe?
Water skiing, they have like 23 national titles.
Okay, all right.
1987 1AA national champions against the Marshall Thundering Herd in Idaho.
For
What
skiing?
more? No, for football.
Oh, I was about to say. You guys went skiing in Idaho?
No, that is not a thing, Jeremy.
Oh,
It was football championship, 1987, the golden years.
all right. Yeah.
Ian Humphreys, Bubby Brister,
Damn, those are good times.
Pat
Wait,
Collins
Did
calling the
Bubby
play.
Brister play for the Warhawks?
Yes, he did.
I did not know that. Wow. That is a name from the past, but it felt good, right? I mean, it was a little bit before your time.
I was a kid and I did not fully appreciate it. No.
Yeah. Yeah. And then as these years go by, you're like, damn, I wish I had appreciated that national championship, right?
Yep. Should have cried a little harder for the coloring book.
Speaking of cry, last time we spoke, we were really sort of positioning James Madison versus Louisiana softball. It's like a clash of the two titans. Metland, is that how it turned out?
No, it wasn't. Louisiana still proved that they were on top of the conference and won their 76th straight Sun Belt series. Ended up being a sweep. Young JMU team played pretty well in a couple of those games and just, lost in the late innings. One was extra inning loss. Probably a disappointing thing for the Dukes is then they turn around and lose a series to Georgia State. This is not a very good team.
Well, wait. Before you go on, are you about to insult the Georgia State fan base? Because if you are,
no.
I want to alert our fans and say that Thibs and I are not part of this commentary. We love Georgia State softball fans. So before you start trashing Georgia State, Metland, which you have a history for,
I would say the records and the RPIs and everything else would suggest that JMU should not have lost that series.
Oh, okay. All right. Just you're just being very stoic and scientific.
Yeah. And I think possibly a little bit of a letdown after they built themselves up for wanting to take down the queens of the Sun Belt.
Well, Thibs. So with that said, what does the state of Sun Belt softball look like right now?
So in softball, obviously the Raging Cajuns with their billion straight wins in Sun Belt Conference action, sitting at 11-1. Marshall, though, is sitting right behind at 9-1. 9-1.
Nobody talking about Marshall right now.
Nobody is talking about the Thundering Herd. They just picked up a series win in Monroe against the Warhawks. Got a non-conference tilt midweek this week before heading to Conway. Then they go see Shane Metland and fight on against the Dukes. Texas State to close out the year. Georgia Southern to close out the year. They'll also host Texas State. So the Herd might be coming in and making some noise. They don't face the Cajuns, so that would be a postseason battle there for them. Troy close behind, 9-2-1. South Alabama 8-4. Texas State 6-4-1. Coastal James Madison at 500 at 6-6. Southern Miss Goose and 11.
How about Arkansas State song?
Goose and forever.
You skipped over our friends, my dear friends, and Boone. 1-9, but that one win is against those mighty Raging Cajuns. So give it up for them.
I tell you what, Appalachian State, they just love to suck until it's like, if they suck, it's like, but we're going to find a way to piss in somebody's soup. And that's what they did against the Cajuns. Congratulations to Appalachian State once again living up to expectations. Guys, a legend of the Sun Belt moved on and surprisingly moved on to another Sun Belt team. Thomas Howell of ULM.
Traitor.
Moved to South Alabama this week. Kind of big news. Kind of like, whoa, what's going on here? How'd that make you feel, Dusty?
I mean, congrats to him. If at the end of the day, if that's what it takes for you to be happy is to go to the transfer heavy JUCO laced team. I mean, he was in the portal, so he's a natural fit. But I think that he's a good fit there. I mean, you look at what the Warhawks are doing, they almost want to run a straight 5-guard set. He's a big guy. He wouldn't fit into the scheme. And so good for him for finding a home.
So now, was he a grad transfer?
No, he actually has 2 years left.
Oh, wow. Okay. Now, when
a COVID year and then 1 year of eligibility.
Yeah, I got you. But do you when you have a player who's a grad transfer leave, does that feel a little bit better? It's like, do you feel to yourself, yeah, he put in his 4 years or whatever. If he wants to, like, work on his degree or test the water somewhere else, that's fine. Do you feel a little bit better when it's a grad transfer?
No, it honestly, it doesn't really bother me that much for transfers when it comes to things like that. If you're not happy, go be happy. I don't like, though, when guys, especially like in football, go through spring practice, coaches kind of get their roster set. They know what the depth chart's going to look like. And then as soon as spring's over, oh, well, I'm only going to be the backup receiver. Yeah, you're going to get plenty of snaps, but I'm not happy being the backup, so I'm transferring. Why didn't you do that before spring?
Yeah, I can see that. I can see where that causes some consternation. Other moves in the Sun Belt of note, Sun Belt basketball. One of the Sun Belt's leading rebounders. In fact, I believe he led in rebounds this year. Issam Mustafa of Coastal Carolina, formerly of Coastal Carolina, has moved on to TCU. Does that make you sad, Shane, to see Mustafa go?
I didn't have a strong attachment to Mustafa. Saw him play once.
Okay, yeah, all right.
Yeah, I mean, it's always like, we'd like to see the talent stay in the league, but I think similar to last year, there was a lot of lamenting the guys who left, and we see some of them playing deep into the NCAA tournament. But a lot of talent ended up coming into the league. You look at Look at Southern Miss. They built their regular season championship team on bringing those guys in. So I think there'll be some balance to it again this year. Yeah, you don't want to see a good player leave, but he might be replaced by somebody just as good.
Shane Metlin, not a fan of Egyptians. There's your headline tomorrow.
Yeah, there he is. No. He now just insulted an entire nation.
My daughter is reading a book about Egyptian mythology. So don't say I'm against Egyptians. We're studying them in my house right now.
Dear Shane's daughter, guess what your dad said about Egypt?
How crazy was that, though, that last year there was the stat that there were only 2 Egyptian-born players in the NCAA. Both were in the Sun Belt.
Yeah.
Neither one of them will be here next year.
You know what? We got a taste of Egypt, and then Egypt said adios. Speaking of adios, guys, the Sun Belt Conference Freshman of the Year, a guy named Michael Handlogton, who I saw play. He came down at Arkansas State to play Arkansas State, and he was impressive. He really fills up the middle, moves very well, seems to have great basketball acumen for a freshman. He's moving on to Florida. Is it disappointing? This is the second year in a row that the Freshman of the Year has left the Sun Belt. Is that alarming, or is it just, that's just the way the game is played now?
We should have our conversation with Keith Gill that we are doing away with that award. There will not be a Freshman of the Year.
There was talk about doing away with the award at the summer meetings. I think there were a few schools that wanted to keep it, that still, or they wanted to roll it in as just a newcomer, like, whether it be a transfer, JUCO transfer, or freshman. I know JMU's women's coach pushed to keep the freshman award around at least for a few more years because they recruit fairly well out of the high school ranks. But I wouldn't be surprised if the Freshman of the Year award goes away at some point.
They're kind of, I like the newcomer of the year award is always kind of funny to me. It's like it was just sort of carved out just for the transfer portal. The last guy I can think of that's really significant that's found a new home. There's a lot of guys in the transfer portal right now, but maybe you know him a little bit more than I do, Shane, because he's from your part of the world. But Mekhi Long of Old Dominion goes to Virginia Tech.
Not terribly surprising. Virginia Tech's worked the portal a lot since Mike Young got there. ODU's been, I don't know. I don't even know what to say about ODU basketball, just being as like middle of the road as they've been. To me, it's the best job in the entire conference. Like, they should win in basketball. They should win big in basketball, and they haven't been doing it lately. And not super surprised to see some players leave there. But I think it seems like a program that should get turned around to me at some point. Maybe, not to discourage getting any ODU guests, but maybe
make ODU manage
at some point has to happen there. I don't know.
I'm back on the train of not believing that ODU is a university or that they exist. We've attempted to get their baseball coach. We've attempted to get some other people from ODU. Nothing. I don't think that they exist.
There's a good chance someone asked me to name all 14 members of the Sun Belt. I think 9 out of 10 times I would forget Old Dominion. I'd be like, oh yeah, and there's one more. Who is it? It's on the tip of my tongue. That's how it'd be for me for Old Dominion every time. I don't know why, because ODU is sort of a Sun Belt OG, right, Thibs? They were old basketball members for a long time.
Yeah, they were some of the original members. I joke about that, by the way.
Not me.
One of the Monarchist guys was actually in Houston. We weren't able to meet up, but we were at least texting for the Final Four weekend.
Are you sure this isn't like a Fight Club moment where you're really texting yourself?
Golly, Jeremy.
No, those guys actually exist.
Okay. All right.
Promise you.
I need to see photographs. I need fingerprints. I don't know. I need proof of life, some sort of gene sequence, just so I know that these people actually exist. So you know what, Shane? One thing that Thibs and I were discussing. You were late, so we kind of a jump start.
I wasn't late. I was 5 minutes early. You guys wanted to start 10 minutes early.
Because it was 9 o'clock. Who does a podcast at 9 o'clock? Anyway, so one of the things we were discussing was spring football. And I said, Thibs, are you guys, in the middle of spring football at ULM? He goes, we're done. It's finished. It concluded at the end of March. Where's JMU in spring football right now?
About a week and a half away from the spring game.
Okay, yeah. So we have ours. Red Wolves have theirs on Saturday. So it always surprises me that's not uniform. Like, it seems to me that everybody should have their spring practices at the same time. Does anybody know why it's sort of dispersed this way? Like it's sort of random?
I don't know, because App State, I swear they had theirs in December. I mean, they were one and done there. I'm sure it has to do with kind of the weather in the different areas, as well as when the spring breaks are, and kind of what the, God forbid, academic side of athletics is kind of lined out as.
Yeah, I think you hit it. Like, yeah, there's spring breaks. I don't think there's too many. Is there anybody in the Sun Belt on a quarter system? But I don't know if that would disrupt anything. Some of those schools, but
it just seems like some people do, like, get it out of the way quick.
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure it's this way at other schools too, but go to JMU practice a couple times a week, and there's always tons of high school recruits there.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing they don't want them standing out in the cold if they can help it. I don't know.
Try to present the university in its best light, right? You want people on campus.
Oh yeah, the trees are blooming. Like, it looks pretty good right this time of year. So
that romance going on.
And all the other sports will have some recruits in for the spring game too. So yeah, I'm sure there's something to that.
I know also upcoming will be spring media availability for the head coaches through the conference. A couple of the coaches kind of mailing it in, just doing a pre-recorded show, no questions, where it will be Sean Elliott of Georgia State, Terry Bowden of ULM, and Michael DeZormo of the Raging Cajuns, all pre-recorded. Everyone else going to be live and in full effect.
Do you think it's a situation where they've already planned a vacation, or are they
Quite
just
possibly. Because all three of those are already done with their spring football.
Yeah, gosh. Could you get away with that at a bigger conference? Like, well, can you imagine just like getting a pre-recorded message from Nick Saban? Yeah, he big shot at us. He's got a pre-recorded message.
People would bitch, but he does what he does.
So does that make DeJormo and who was it? Was DeJormo your guy? Yeah,
and Sean Elliott. Are you going to tell Sean Elliott he can't record a message?
Yeah.
Bowden's the disappointing one to me because he's the best on the weekly teleconference during the season. He's always got something funny to say.
Yeah, I want to see him just kind of roll in wearing like pajamas and like I don't know, like an old like Air Force jacket maybe and like some flippers on his feet and like a highball in one hand and maybe like a bikini girl in the other, and just sit down at the podium cracking jokes for half an hour. He seems like he'd be that kind of guy. Instead, he just mails something in. Have you seen this video recording yet?
No, isn't that what we do every week though? We just kind of mail it in.
That's kind of like what we're doing now, trying to fill up the time. Yeah.
We will find out on Thursday if we have won our National Sports Podcaster Award Thursday on Twitter.
So what do you think that will do for us if we win this award? Does it come with cash prize, like an endowment, maybe like a grant of some kind?
Probably a 24-pack of Bud Light.
Man, sign me up. If any left from Chris Rock's stash, I'll take that. Kid Rock's stash, I'll take that too. Although I can only drink like 2 or 3, or I'm just completely.
I honestly have no idea if we win it, what that means. I think we get a cool little logo that we'll have to incorporate in our header of our Twitter.
Sure.
Maybe we get business cards we can put in a fishbowl to try to win lunch.
Do we start starring up on like the group of 5 guys? Just like, we're going to have you guys on, but you guys don't quite pass muster anymore. You're not quite FunBelt podcast material. So we're just going to say, just sever ties right now. And we'll just always have like celebrity hot tub on and guys like that. Is that the play?
I don't know. I mean, a group of 5 guys they're pretty big guys. So I mean, they still match up there. Yeah. I mean, they're old Middle Tennessee guys, but we still got love for them.
Yeah, but
even though Swag Bear won't come on anymore with us,
we would have outgrown them, man. It's like we've moved on. We're in another stratosphere. We're like we're Phil Steele territory now. If we win this, and this might ruin us.
Phil Steele's intern responds to Jeremy on Twitter. Now he thinks he is BFF with Steele.
Phil and I. He calls me up late at night. He's like, "Oh, what do you think about the Warhawks this year?" I'm like, "Well, don't tell Thibs I think they suck." And we laugh. That's great. And then we talk about the boob cats and we laugh. And then we talk about Old Dominion. It gets real quiet because neither one of us know anything about Old Dominion. But,
so is Phil still your biggest celebrity fan or friend? Is he your best known best friend?
You know what? I did meet Peter Frampton once. You guys know Peter Frampton? Thibs, you know Peter Frampton, right?
Yeah.
No,
Thibs?
I'm not big time like that.
But you know who he is, right?
I know of him.
Okay. So he was playing a gig in Memphis, and I know his manager, right? And so she introduced Peter Frampton to me. And Peter Frampton's about 3 feet tall. And I come up to him. I said, "Hello, Mr. Frampton. My name's Jeremy Harper. I'm a big fan." He goes, "Yes, yes." He's very British. And I said, Peter, I heard that you're a dad." He goes, "Yes." I said, "Well, I'm about to be a father too. There's my wife. She's super pregnant. I'm going to have my first child. Do you have any advice for a man who's about to have his first child?" He goes, "Yes, run." That's my Peter Frampton story.
That's a good one.
Yeah, we're buddies.
So speaking of running,
Yeah.
with Sunbelt media availability coming up, the new kids on the block of Tim Beck and GJ Kinney of the Boo Cats will be in attendance live and in person, but we got the preview of Tim Beck as he will be joining me.
Wait, what about the rest of us?
No, I didn't want to include y'all because I wanted to have a good relationship with this new guy into the conference.
Shane and I would love to talk to Mr. Beck.
I have to admit, I was logging on to Zoom right as that conversation ended. I thought I'd catch it, and I did not.
And we've had a tornado in Little Rock. That was my excuse. So, hey, you can't rub this into my face. You've got to. This is just really damn insensitive of you, Thibs, to be like gloating over this big interview when we've had all this trouble in Little Rock. How dare you?
How was your house, Jeremy?
Oh, it's fine. It didn't do anything in my house. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
One of the new faces of the Sunbelt Conference, Tim Beck, joins us, head coach of the Chanticleers. Coach, tell us, how's it been so far this spring as you get your first look at your football program?
Oh, it's been great. I've been really fortunate. It's been a great spring, getting a chance to install, be around our players, getting an opportunity to see what we're good at and what we need to get better at. And so, it's like all springs, you go through it and there's goods and bads to it, but it's just fun being back on the field and getting a chance to coach and be around the guys.
So I think one of the first things whenever you look at a roster, obviously is going to be who's going to be behind center. You get a great one coming back there and Grayson McCall coming back for another year. What's been the relationship like as you get ready to really take him under your wing and continue seeing what he can do next?
Yeah, obviously you got to be strong up the middle, and to have a guy like Grayson being able to return, just his leadership, his presence, he's been outstanding. He's bought in, he's sold in to everything we're trying to do. And obviously when the leader of your team, a captain, a guy that's been just a tremendous football player, believes and buys in, it obviously makes it a lot easier in terms of the transition.
Beyond Grace McCall, you got a lot of receivers, running backs, really a lot of your core program coming back. Does that make it easier for that transition as you get ready for your first season in the Sunbelt Conference?
Yeah, no doubt. I think having our skill position, especially, there's a lot of veteran players that a lot of pelts on the wall, and so they get it. And so they don't have to figure out how to play. They just got to kind of figure out what to do. It's a lot different when you have an inexperienced team coming back. They're still trying to figure out the life of college athletics a little bit, how all this works, and also trying to learn something. So having those guys, veterans like we do, has been a blessing. And it's been an easier transition too, because just like Grayson, when the buy-in's there and it's 100%, it's a lot easier to get the room heading in the same direction, because at the end of the day, you got to get everybody all on board.
Coming from NC State, you get to take over the Teal Field. Tell me about how that conversation went with the AD as that relationship began of them courting you to become the head coach after Jamie Chadwell left the program.
Yeah, so it's an interesting fact. My daughter went to school here, played volleyball. She was on the indoor team and the beach team, actually, when they were just starting out the beach program. So I learned about it in 2017 when I was at Ohio State and then ventured over to Texas, and she played here. And so I got a chance to really witness it firsthand, get a chance to meet some of the people involved and be around, and just a great community, tremendous support. They love the program. Really tremendous people. I mean, just caring, loving, understanding, and the culture. It's just a great culture. And so my daughter loved it here. I felt like keep an eye on this one, keep fostering relationships. And, if the time ever came for this position to be open, to, hopefully have an opportunity. And I was extremely blessed and became the next head coach.
You brought some big power on the coaching staff as well with Clint Trickett coming in, Travis Trickett, his brother Clint, obviously another offensive coordinator in the Sun Belt. What does that family lineage kind of do to give even more oomph to that powerful Chants offense?
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, obviously Travis, tremendous coach. He's obviously still up and coming in terms of coordinators, but he's been extremely successful everywhere he's been. He's the epitome of a coach's son. The ironic thing is he's going to play against dad and against brother. So there's going to be an interesting home dynamic when those games are taking place. But he's done a fantastic job with Grayson, with our offense. I'm really pleased with where we're at right now in spring offensively. Guys are getting it. They're playing fast. They're having fun. So really excited about what he's done, what he's brought, and how he's kind of managed our group on offense.
Still on the outside looking in, putting back on your NC State hat, what do you see of the Sun Belt and kind of what the conference looked like this past year, as well as the season even before that, where it really kind of thrust itself onto the national spotlight?
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, you got to be fearful playing anybody in the Sun Belt Conference because there's great athletes, great coaching, tough football teams, well coached. And so, you got to beat them. They're not going to give the games away. You got to come. Anytime you play a school in our conference, you got to make sure that you have to beat that football team. And I knew that at NC State. I saw it. You see it all around. You see it in scores, and so it's a very fearful league in the college profession with college coaches, knowing that this conference is a there's no easy out here. And so it's going to be tough. It's going to be a hard conference. I'm up for the challenge. I think our guys are up for the challenge. And so it's going to be exciting. It makes it fun to be able to go out there and have to compete every Saturday.
Spring football now complete for you. Were there any surprises that you really didn't expect to see out of your team?
Honestly, no, because I kind of came in. I didn't have a whole lot of preconceived notion or idea of who's going to do what. The system's changed, the coaching has changed. It was just more about getting better. The biggest thing for us right now is just every day, are we getting better at everything that we do, right? Are we maintaining our bodies? Are we hydrating? Are we eating the right foods? Are we doing the right things to put us in a chance to have success when fall comes? And so, again, I did a lot of evaluation and basing my margin of success on those things. And we got better every day. We got better on the field every day. Guys communicating better every day. Our ball security is better every day. So all those things that contribute to winning down the road, brick by brick, laying that wall down has been very, very good. And I'm really pleased and excited where we're at right now.
Jamie Chadwell did a great job of really building that machine. Is there a sense of pressure for you to kind of keep the machine oiled and going, or do you feel that you have what it takes to kind of put your stamp on it and make the program even bigger, better, faster, stronger?
Yeah, I think first of all, Jamie did. He did a great job, and all the coaches here, and they did a great job of putting Coastal Carolina on the map and having them have success. I don't feel any pressure with respect to that. I put my own pressure on myself to be the best I can be every day and to give my guys, my team, my coaches, everything I got. That's the pressure I put on myself, because any job, there's pressure. There's always pressure. So it is what you manage with it. As far as how do we get better? How do we, continue to compete for a championship? Doing the little things, right? You just got to continue to do the little things. Got to keep continuing to love each other as a football team, right? You got the details, winning's in the details, the small things. And so we just keep harping on that, keep focusing on that, keep teaching them football, keep learning how to play hard, man. Play as hard as you can play for 4 to 6 seconds for the love of the guy next to you and the love of the guy behind you. And so as long as we can continue to do that, I like our chances.
First, it was the mullets, then it was the stashes. What's the twist you're putting on this Chants program for this upcoming year?
I don't know yet. We'll have to see as we get closer to the season.
Awesome, Coach. Well, I look forward to catching up with you July in New Orleans for Sunbelt Media Days, and appreciate it. Looking forward to seeing how the Chants do this upcoming season.
Absolutely. I appreciate you guys.
So there it is. We get the inside scoop of the new leader of the Chants. He is excited about Grayson McCall. We got to hear about him continuing the great football lineage of having a Trickett on staff as his quarterback and offensive coordinator. I hope you get the postcard soon, Jeremy, of wish you were here, miss you dear.
You know what that interview was missing? It was missing the journalistic integrity and pizzazz that Shane and I could have offered to that interview.
Shane would have just pissed him off.
That's true. Shane, all right, yeah. There is a real danger that Shane could have alienated him from the rest of us, and that's fine, but you at least could have invited me to join in on the interview.
I missed my opportunity to ask him if he remembers my brother, who was a student manager at Kansas when he was an assistant there. And I didn't get the chance to ask him. Maybe I'll ask him on Thursday when there's a dozen people waiting to ask real questions.
You denied Shane an opportunity that he can never have again, Thibs. How do you respond to that?
You snooze, you lose.
Yes.
So when we get the Pulitzer, are you just keeping? So Shane and I will have to buy knockoffs. You get the real Pulitzer, right?
If Arkansas State wins this bowling national title, are you going to share the trophy with us?
No, that trophy belongs to me. I'm gonna have it posted behind me every time we do an interview, just to let people know that the bowling national trophy is with Arkansas.
So if you win a bowling national title, for basketball, you would cut down the nets, football, maybe plant a flag at midfield or tear down the goal. What do you do in bowling?
I think you have to eat a bowling pin. Like there's 10 pins. Everybody on the team has to eat one.
Yeah, I'm glad that's not a thing.
I don't think
Warhawks would not be able to do it.
I don't think you have to lick the bowling lane or any. I don't know. There has to be something though, right?
I think everybody has to do their best Pete Weber impression.
Oh, what the
who's the man? I am.
I am.
No, what did he say? What did he say? What was it?
Who do you think you are? I
am. Is that what he said?
He said, "Who do you think you are? I am."
Yeah. It's like he starts talking biblically.
Yeah.
I don't know. You know what, guys? Joking aside, I will be probably checking in on that tournament. It starts on Saturday with the first two rounds. Ends like the championship round is like at 9 o'clock, like this podcast, 9 o'clock in Las Vegas.
That's prime time in Vegas.
Yeah, it'll be prime time. I think it's on ESPN too. So if you want to check that out, it should be really good. I know you listen, Shane, don't pretend you're above all this. I know that as a elitist from the Northeast, you guys love bowling up there. So I know you guys want to be watching. You're probably up for McKendree State, and that's fine. I assume McKendree's up there. I'm not even sure where McKendree is. But but I want you guys, listen, I want you to find in your hearts to root for Arkansas State. Okay. I know it's not Sunbelt, it's the Southland, but it would be a favor to me, Jeremy Harper, if you should do that. That would be great.
Yeah, I'm not going to eat a bowling pin though. Just know that. Anyway, it's definitely time, way past time for Jeremy to go to bed, and we have to get off his lawn. So time for plugs, promos, parting shots. Shane, tell us, what do you have?
I have the inside scoop on McKendree University.
Yes.
Founded in 1828 as Lebanon Seminary. It's in Lebanon, Illinois.
Oh,
They're the Bearcats with a K, or no, with a C.
I know where.
And they have 2,300 undergrad students, of which, how many are on a bowling team? A dozen?
About 10.
10, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty large percentage of their student population going for a national championship.
They're the defending
for both McKendree. And if it can't be the Red Wolves, now I'm rooting for McKendree. They're my bowling school now.
Just know they're defending champions. It's not like they're a Cinderella team. They are a legit bowling powerhouse, and not just recently. Since 2004, they've been in the mix for a lot of championships. So don't pretend like, let's not pretend that McKendree is like some little like weak entry into this. They were the number 1 seed. So just bear in mind.
You did explain to their head coach when he came on the power of the show, right? That we have a tendency to elevate people's games and get them into the national limelight.
Yeah, you know what? I did not bring that up to him, but if we win the award, then I'm definitely going to bring that up. All right, I'm going to do a parting shot. If you're done, Shane.
I am done.
All right. Hey, you guys watched John Wick 4?
Or 3 or 2 or 1.
You've not seen a single John Wick?
Nope. The only Wick I've seen is on a candle.
All right, Shane, you've seen 1?
Yeah.
First of all, what kind of men am I working with here? that you're not watching John Wick movies.
I went to Super Mario Brothers this weekend. It was I think that's the first time in like 3 years I've been to a movie theater. So.
Okay, all right.
I watched Cocaine Bear. I mean, come on, quality stuff.
That. Yeah, I enjoyed Cocaine Bear, and I think I enjoyed John Wick 4. I've seen all the John Wicks. All right, but it's essentially, it's really just the same movie again and again and again. John Wick's in the same peril. He's killing the same people. He's sort of got the same allies. It's the same old rigmarole. It actually, you watch him roll down stairs and fall out of buildings, and he's getting hit by cars, and he just doesn't die. And you don't know how that's possible. I don't know if I recommend John Wick 4. Now, people love John Wick 4. People are like, oh, it's the best out of the bunch. I don't know if that's true, but I saw John Wick 4. I've put it underneath my belt. I saw Cocaine Bear, Thibs. And if I had the choice between watching John Wick 4 and Cocaine Bear, I might go with Cocaine Bear.
Okay. The WNBA draft recently happened.
Yes.
Once again, no Sunbelt Conference team had representation. The last Sunbelt Conference draftee for the WNBA was, Jeremy?
I don't know.
Chastity Reed of Arkansas Little Rock in 2011.
Wow.
How can we have such great quality women's basketball, but nobody is going to the next level?
Shane, this is a question for you, because I feel like your fingers are on the pulse of this. Because you've got those big Russians on your team. But
there's not that many WNBA teams. It's like what, only 30 some women get drafted every year.
Sounds about right.
And I mean, they're talking about expanding, which I think would be good for the women's game. Cause I mean, there are first round draft picks who get cut in the WNBA because there's more college stars coming out every year than there are roster spots opening up.
And from what I understand, the depth of talent showcased at this this NCAA tournament, it just shows what the future is going to be like for the WNBA. But here's my thing about women's basketball right now. I mean, to me, I feel like, yes, the talent is great right now. And I loved watching the NCAA tournament this year. I really did. I thought it was great, fun to watch. But it seems to me that it's still top heavy. Like there's still really 10 programs out there who get significantly better talent than everybody else. I mean, not just a little bit, but significantly better. It's like there's 10 programs at the very best female basketball players are going to go to, and then everybody else kind of fills in patches with who's ever left over. And that's what I was going to ask you, Shane. Do you think I'm right on that, or am I just missing something that should be a little more obvious?
It's getting better, because I think, not that long ago there was like 2 programs.
That's right.
And that was like 10 or 15. Yeah. And I do also think, one of the things so I went to Columbus, Ohio for the NCAA women's tournament where James Madison played Ohio State. And the night before that game, we decided to venture downtown, where we watched Fairleigh Dickinson beat Purdue. And the biggest thing you notice going to those 2 games back to back is that the men playing on a neutral court, there's half the building is Purdue fans at the time, but then the other 10,000 people that are there are rooting like crazy for Fairleigh Dickinson, when most of them don't have any idea where Fairleigh Dickinson is.
Yeah,
they're in for crazy, and that makes the upsets happen. Whereas opposed to the next day, JMU's playing on campus at Ohio State, and they played pretty well. They were up by 16 in that game. They were leading at halftime, but Ohio State's fans start getting into it, and they get behind them, and it's a lot harder to pull off that upset on somebody's home court. So I think that's one of the bigger differences just between the men and the women as far as like those upsets ever happening. But it's getting more balanced. And to go back to the WNBA draft too, Kiki Jefferson from JMU, the Sun Belt Player of the Year, if she goes pro this year, there's a good chance she ends that streak and gets drafted late in the 3rd round. But there's more money for her putting her name into the transfer portal and seeing what NIL deals are out there. And I think that's another big thing about women's basketball right now that's just probably will change with time, but that's where everything is. And that's probably another reason why it's harder to see these mid-major conferences get people drafted.
Did you notice a difference in body style between the Ohio State team and JMU? I'm talking about speed, height, weight, all those things. Was there a difference, or did they look like they were equally set?
There was a difference. I think, one play during that game, we saw an Ohio State girl. She takes a mid-range jumper, probably, around the free throw line. And then she goes in and almost tips in her own miss, like near the rim. Yeah. It's just a play you just don't see a lot of Sun Belt women making.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, and then JMU, obviously winning the conference regular season and tournament, we're probably closer to that level of athleticism than a lot of teams in the Sun Belt. And there still was like that jump in athleticism. You just don't see that kind of play made very often in a mid-major game.
I noticed that too, watching Arkansas State versus Arkansas last year. Arkansas came down to Jonesboro, and it wasn't necessarily that there wasn't like a huge size difference, but there was sort of a power difference. Like the women at Arkansas were just so much quicker and would, kind of like what you said, just pound through the paint and get that rebound and get that like second chance shot again and again and again. It was like there was just like this different sort of athlete that was there. You're like, how do you compete? And that's what I meant by it. Just seems like higher tier teams just seem to be able to collect those athletes a little easier than group of 5 or mid-level teams. And when it comes to women's basketball, which you're right, it used to just be Connecticut and Tennessee. And now ever since Baylor came on the surface, it seems like there's about 10 schools that have come out and said, well, we can attract these athletes too.
One last note. The crazy stat. Ooh. Sean Weatherby, junior outfielder for the Warhawks, tied for 3rd in all of NCAA in hit by pitches with 18.
18 already?
Why is that a stat that they have? And second of all, at least in the old days of football, if you led an NCAA statistical category, you at least got a plaque at the end of the year. I remember one year ULM had the leading punt returner in like 98, 99. And so there was a plaque that the NCAA sent. Do you get that same plaque for hit by pitches?
I really hope so.
God,
I hope so too.
Would. I mean, that's a factor. You get on,
on base. Yeah.
Yeah. I tell you what, that's what college baseball cracks me up. It's like that's like you see so many hit by pitches, so many balks, so many walk-in runs. It's kind of crazy just how bad the baseball can be sometimes. But yeah, I say that being a fan of Arkansas State, where the baseball's been bad for a long time. So I might be a little biased on that. But yeah, congratulations to ULM having is it third? Did you say third in the nation?
Tied for third.
Okay.
With 18 currently in 32 games, 3 behind the leader from Notre Dame, Brooks Coatsy, who in 29 games has been hit 21 times.
You know, this kid from ULM, every other game he's getting hit with a pitch.
And it's almost like Jeremy's out there pitching.
I don't know if I could play baseball knowing there was a good chance I was going to get hit by a 80-mile-per-hour fastball. I don't need that in my life. These guys are tough. I got a new appreciation for the toughness of baseball players.
Driving on stormy nights can become so difficult that you may wish you had the eyes of a night creature, like an owl or a tarsier. What's a tarsier? Well, it's like a... Look, it doesn't matter. Bosch Night Performance Wiper Blades reduce blur and glare, clearing away rain, so you can drive even better than a tarsier, whatever that is. Night vision has evolved. Bosch Night Performance Wiper Blades.